What? You know what just to be safe thing you did end up saving your ass later? It was not my own safety at risk, but rather my mother's. We were alone at home when I was preparing to attend a party. Upon going upstairs, I discovered my mother had dismantled the carbon monoxide detector and placed its pieces on the coffee table. She explained that it was beeping, and due to a previous incident in our previous house where a malfunctioning detector had given a false alarm, she assumed the same was happening again. Initially, I didn't pay much attention to it and continued with my preparations. However, something kept bothering me, and despite my mother's insistence that everything was fine, I argued with her and firmly stated that we needed to call the fire department. Eventually, I made the call. The firefighters arrived and discovered dangerously high levels of carbon monoxide in the basement, to the point that anyone sleeping down there would have already succumbed to its effects. Unbeknownst to us, our cats were experiencing symptoms of poisoning and were vomiting. It turned out that the furnace's filter was severely clogged, causing it to emit carbon monoxide. One of the firefighters took me aside and revealed that if I hadn't made the call, I would have likely returned home to find my mother dead in her bed. Story 2. It wasn't me who was in distress, but rather my mother. As I was preparing for school, I noticed that she was vomiting in the bathroom. She attributed it to a stomach bug and insisted that I go to school, although she mentioned experiencing pain in her arm. Something didn't feel right, so I made the decision to call an ambulance from downstairs. The paramedics arrived and swiftly transported her to the hospital. During the journey, she suffered from 3 cardiac arrests and required defibrillation each time. Following a double bypass surgery, she remarkably recovered within a month. The paramedics informed me that if I hadn't made the call, she would have passed away just 5 minutes after I left. Story 3. While delivering pizza in a questionable neighborhood late at night, I encountered a large apartment complex consisting of multiple buildings. As I approached the front door, I noticed a couple of individuals dressed in dark clothing about 100 feet behind me, walking in my direction. The delivery was for a customer on the 2nd floor, and as I reached her door, I heard the main entrance of the apartment complex open and close. Since the customer had paid with a credit card and tipped me in cash, I decided to secure the cash by placing it in my inner jacket pocket, leaving only the change from that night's deliveries in my bag. As I made my way down the stairs towards my car, 2 men suddenly emerged from behind the stairs, with one of them brandishing a gun and demanding money. Without hesitation, I handed them my bag filled with quarters, and they swiftly fled towards the back entrance of the apartment complex. I sprinted back to my car, running faster than I ever had before, wanting to put as much distance as possible between myself and the robbers, who had taken a mere $3.25 from me. Story 4. A close friend of mine and his wife were eagerly anticipating the arrival of their first child. In preparation for the due date, they received a comprehensive packet containing information and paperwork to streamline the process. Among the materials were brochures detailing various genetic testing options and other available services, including the option to save cord blood. As my friend glanced at the front of the brochure, his wife inquired about their decision regarding cord blood preservation, which came with a significant cost of a couple $1,000s initially and a few $100s annually thereafter. Without hesitation, my friend responded with a resounding yes. Later that year, their daughter was born. However, 3 years after her birth, they welcomed a son who was diagnosed with an immune disorder characterized by the absence of white blood cells. Fortunately, the cord blood and stem cells from his older sister were utilized as a treatment for his condition. Story 5. After months of deliberation, my daughter was born in December, and we were uncertain about whether to save her cord blood. In Australia, the cost for a reputable company starts at a minimum of $6,000 with ongoing expenses. To gather more information, I spoke with a representative who was forthcoming and answered all my questions honestly. I came across a study that mentioned the use of stored cord blood for autism, which struck me as peculiar. The representative assured me of a near-zero failure rate and a money-back guarantee if the cord blood didn't work. Feeling positive about the information, I sought clarification on what exactly the "it" referred to. I wanted to confirm that it solely covered the usability of the cord blood, and the representative confirmed this. However, when I inquired about the success rate of surgeries using cord blood, I was met with patient confidentiality restrictions. Although I pressed for a percentage of successful treatments using stored cord blood, the representative couldn't provide that information. Seeking further insights, I reached out to others and discovered a similar lack of success rate data. Ultimately, I decided against saving the cord blood. I learned that around 90% of stored blood cases were used for siblings, but there was no available information on the success rate of treatments using stored cord blood. It felt like a murky and uncertain territory. As you mentioned in your last paragraph, cord blood has been used as a treatment, but the outcome remains unclear. I apologize if my explanation seems straightforward. I am genuinely curious about the results. I want to clarify that I have received some messages expressing concerns about potential misinformation bias. I encourage you to conduct your own research and form your own conclusions regarding this investment. Technology and science are rapidly advancing, and ethical approvals for stem cell treatments may change in the coming years. The future is uncertain, and it is up to you to make decisions about your finances and future. I am simply sharing my perspective based on my own experiences. For those interested in the use of cord blood for autism, I suggest checking the provided link. Ongoing research on this topic is still underway. Story 6. While looking after my toddler nephew, he managed to find a metal straw somewhere in the house and began playing with it. He innocently tapped objects and waved it around, but I had recently come across a Reddit story about a woman who suffered a severe injury when a metal straw impaled her face during a fall. Concerned for my nephew's safety, I swiftly took away the metal straw and replaced it with a soft and squishy silicone one for him to play with instead. To my disbelief, in less than 5 minutes, he had a typical toddler fall, and I witnessed the silicone straw being squished into his cheek. The incident left me in a state of shock, and I had to take some time to gather my thoughts and emotions. Story 7. During my time working for a recycling company, one of my responsibilities was collecting old fridges and freezers and loading them onto a lorry for transportation to a recycling plant in London. The task of picking up fridges was physically demanding, and on an average day, we would collect around 135 or more fridges that needed to be lifted into the lorry. On one occasion, while lifting a tall fridge, I performed a semi-throw to get it into the lorry. Unfortunately, during the process, a small shard of something flew directly into my eye. In the absence of safety goggles in the dusty and dirty environment, I spent the entire day rubbing my eye as it felt sore, and as if there was something like dust stuck in it. Despite washing it with water and rubbing, the discomfort persisted. That night, I had no choice but to visit the emergency ward at the hospital. The medical professionals examined my bruised and worsened eyeball, which had been affected by my constant rubbing. After conducting tests and applying a purple dye, they determined that I had scratched my cornea due to the object that hit my eye. Initially, they discussed the possibility of surgery to minimize any long-term damage. However, they prescribed eye drops and a topical cream, advising me to return for a follow-up appointment in a few days. Fortunately, the prescribed treatment helped heal my eye, and they assured me that there would be no further damage. They emphasized the importance of completing the eye drops and using safety goggles. I consider myself fortunate that, even at the age of 47, I still have 20/20 vision during eye tests. This experience served as a reminder of the significance of using safety equipment when it is available. Story 8. Before embarking on an exploration of a national forest with a companion on a road trip, I took the precaution of saving the GPS location of our vehicle on Google Maps. Equipped with fishing poles, we set off towards the nearest water location indicated on our map, hoping to enjoy some fishing. However, to our surprise, what we thought was a lake turned out to be a swamp. This unexpected turn of events caused us to become disoriented, and the situation could have taken a dangerous turn. Despite not venturing too far from where we had parked, we somehow ended up on the opposite side of the swamp without even realizing it. The weather worsened with drizzling rain, mosquitoes buzzing around, bear tracks adding to our unease, and the sun gradually setting as we desperately searched for our car. Had I not saved the GPS coordinates, our predicament would have likely resulted in a cold and wet night in the woods, at the very least. It is highly probable that we would have required a search and rescue operation to ensure our safety. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel not to miss new cool videos. See you soon.